Okay, good morning, grade 7 hots. Before anything else, I would like to do our daily routine. Let's have first our prayer. Miss Abigail, can you please lead our prayer? Okay, thank you. Before you sit down, can you pick those pieces of paper and then arrange your chair? Okay, you may now take your seat. Before I... Once I call your name, kindly raise your hands and say present. Abigail, Heidi, Mary, Azenet, Rochelle. Okay. I want to remind everyone about our house rules, your do's and don'ts during my discussion. Okay. So for our first rules, I want everyone to be kind and respectful. Treat others the way you want them to be treated. Show kindness, empathy, and respect your classmates, teachers, and everyone. For our next rules, I want everyone to be listen and raise your hand. Active listening is vital for learning. When someone is speaking, raise your hand to share your thoughts or ask your questions. And for our third rule, I want everyone to follow directions, listen carefully to the instructions of the teachers. So this will help us to stay organized, ensure that we can explore and learn together effectively. And for our last rule, I want everyone to be responsible, own up to your choices and their consequences. Take care of our classrooms, materials, and keep your workspace tidy. Okay. Before we proceed in our next discussion, I want to ask everyone what you've learned or what you remember about our last discussion. Can you share your idea? Yes, Leslie? Okay, very good. Last time we discussed about the essential of statistics wherein statistics deals with collection, interpretation, analysis, and organization of data that will make them usable. And aside from the essential of statistics, can you give another ideas that you remember? Yes, Mary? Okay, very good. Aside from the essential of statistics, we also discussed about the two types of statistics, the descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Can you define, Heidi, what are the difference between the two? Okay, very good. When we say descriptive statistics, it deals with, it aims to provide basic characteristics and descriptives by making numerical data and graphs. While on the other hand, when we say inferential statistics, from the word infer, it aims to infer and make interpretation by making conclusions about the given data sets. Aside from the two types of statistics and essential of statistics, what you've learned about our last discussion. Yes, Abigail? Okay, very good. Aside from that, we also discussed the definition of data. Well done, everyone. It seems that you've learned a lot so much in our last discussion. Now, before we proceed in our next discussion, I want you to answer these questions. So this will serve to assess your knowledge if you have prior knowledge about our next topic. Okay, are you done? Kindly. Okay, let's check. For our number 1, the answer is letter B. For number 2, letter B. Number 3, C. 4, B. 5, C. 6, B. 7, B. 8, A. 9, A. And then 10, A. Did you get it? Okay. So, I have here a box. We are going to have a short game wherein in this game, a box will be passed to one another, and as the music stops, the person holding the box will pick a paper inside and answer the question written on it. You have 30 seconds to answer each question. So, let's start. Okay, it seems that you are the lucky person that are going to pick the first question. So your first question is, what is your favorite pet? Okay, Sherilyn, what is your favorite pet? Oh, nice. Your favorite pet is dog and cats. Okay, let's have another person. Okay, for our next one, we have Azinet. And your question is, what social media platforms do you use regularly? Azinet, what is your social media platforms that you use regularly? Okay, Azinet's answer is Facebook. Okay, it seems that you're a Facebook user. Okay, for our next activity, I have here for our next activity, you are going to ask each of your classmates, wherein you are going to ask them when is their birth month, and then after asking them, you are going to categorize each of them according to their birth month from January to February. And then after that, I prepared here 4 questions, the process questions, wherein it deals on the questions on how you come up with that output. The first question is, what did you learn about yourself by doing this activity? The second is, how did others help you? And the third question is, how did you make your decision? And number 4 is, what steps did you take? Okay, I'll give you 10 minutes. Okay, time's up. Can you please pass it forward? Okay. So now, let's proceed in our next discussion, on our next topic wherein, but first, let's have our learning objectives. So for our first learning objectives, we have first identify various data different methods in gathering statistical data. Do you have any idea what are those, or do you have any opinion there? Yes, Michelle. Okay, very good. Interview and observation is an example of methods in gathering statistical data. Did you know that gathering statistical data is very essential because it helps us in analyzing those data that we are going to gather. But before that, you have to know the difference between the population and the sample. So we have first. The entire group is being studied and analyzed, and the data collection from all members of the population are being surveyed or census or interviewed, and it is more larger than the population, and also it provides complete and exact information. The one example of this is all citizens of the country. When we say from the word all the population or all the citizens of the country are being interviewed, surveyed, or asked. And then, on the other hand, when we say sample, it is a subset of the population chosen for the study. Smaller amount. It is also smaller, manageable portion of the group. Data is collected from selected members since it is just a sample, and then provides an estimate or generalization about the population. And the example of this one is a survey of 1,000 citizens from the country. And now that you know the difference between the population and the sample, I have here 2 questions where you are going to analyze them, which is the population and which is the sample. So for your question number 1, a statistician gathers the ages of all the teachers in all 5 universities. And the other situation is, in order to collect the information about their family, the family financial status, the principal selected 5 students from each section in all grade level. Okay, Catherine, you are raising your hands. Can you define which is the population and which is the sample? Okay, very good. The first situation is the population, and the second situation is the example of sample. Okay, now we are going to proceed on the different methods in gathering statistical data. But before that, I have here a different pictures where you are going to analyze which is the interview, the survey and questionnaire, census, observation, experimentation, documentation. So you are going to pick in that 6 methods of gathering statistical data. Okay, let's have first. So from these 4 pictures, what do you think is this one? Yes, Michelle? Okay, very good. This one is observation. So next, let's have this. What do you think is this one? Yes, Blessy. Very good. This one is experimentation. What about this questioner. So there's a clue. And for our last picture, try to analyze this one. Yes, Sherilyn. So this one is documentation. So now, we are going to proceed on the definition on each of them. So for our first method, we have interview, wherein when we say interview, it is a data collection method involving direct interaction wherein researchers asking questions to gather insights and responses from the participants. And for our next methods, do you have an idea? Yes, Heidi? When we say survey and questionnaire, do you have an idea? Okay, very good. When we say survey and questionnaire, it is a method of data gathering a written copy of a questions that is given to the respondents. And for our third methods, we have here a census. When we're in census is a comprehensive data collection method that involves gathering information from every member of a population, providing a complete set of data on the group. What about for our fourth methods? Yes, Allen? Okay, very good. When we say observation, it takes place when the human senses are utilized to obtain sensible information from social and scientific experiments or research on specific group of people in terms of tradition and culture. And aside from that, we also have experimentation, wherein experimentation is a controlled method where researchers manipulate various observed effects on use to determine cause and effect relationship. And for our last method, we have here a documentation, where the documentation is a method of gathering statistical data by reviewing and analyzing existing records, reports, or documents. And these methods involves collecting information that has already recorded, often by institutions, organizations, or individuals, using to answer research questionnaires to support analysis. So these are the 6 methods in gathering statistical data. So aside from the 6 methods in gathering statistical data, we also have the 4 sampling techniques, where it is very important when we are using the sample method. So that 4 sampling techniques is random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling. So for the first one, does anyone have an idea about when we say random sampling? Yes, Christine? Oh, okay, that's correct. When we say random sampling, it is selecting individuals randomly from the population where every member has an equal chance of being chosen. And for the next one, we have a systematic sampling. Wherein when we say systematic sampling, it is a technique in which each member of the population is assigned a number, selecting some random starting point, and then selecting every 8 element, third, fifth, 10th, and etc. This stands for this from the population to be included in the sample, wherein K is a counting number. And for our third one, stratified sampling technique. When we say stratified sampling technique, do you have an idea? Yes, Mary? Okay, very good. That's correct. When we say stratified sampling, it is dividing the population into distinct groups or strata based on the shared characteristics, then sampling randomly from each group. sampling, wherein this one is, it is a sampling technique where the subjects are selected by dividing the population into groups or clusters. Then samples from each clusters are selected using a sample random sampling. So, that is our different methods and different sampling techniques that we have in gathering statistical data. After that, I have here let's have first a short activity where you are going to choose the correct answer in this one. Okay. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes for you to answer the questions. Okay, are you done? Kindly exchange your paper with your seatmates. Again, everyone, I would like you to be honest with the result of this activity. Okay. So, for the question number 1, which of the following best describe a sample? The answer is letter B. A subgroup of the entire population is being studied. Oh, and for the question number 2, what is the purpose of conducting a census? What is the answer? Yes, Heidi? Very good. The answer is letter A, to collect data from every member of a population. And for the number 3, if a researcher survey every 10th person from a list of 100 people, which sampling method are they using? What is the answer? Very good. The answer is letter B, systematic sampling. And for the question number 4, which data collection method involves gathering information by directly observing behaviors without interacting with the participants? The answer is letter C. And for the number 5, in which sampling method is the population divided into subgroups, and then a random sample is taken from each group? What is the answer? Okay, that's correct. The answer is letter B, stratified sampling. And for the number 6, which of the following is the characteristics of cluster sampling? The answer is letter C, choosing an entire group or clusters within a population. And for our set B, state whether the statement is true or false. Number 7, what is the answer? Okay, the answer is false. And letter 8, in a survey data is gathered true list of written questions that respondents complete. The answer is true. And for our number 9, random sampling is a method where each member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. The answer is true. And for number 10, in stratified sampling, researchers select individuals at fixed intervals to ensure a consistent sample. The answer is false. Okay, who got the perfect score? Okay, very good. It seems that you've already known different methods and sampling techniques. Now we can proceed on our quiz. And for our quiz, I also have here provided your answer sheet. Kindly answer this one. I'll give you 10 minutes for that. Please answer it wisely. Okay, are you done? Please exchange your paper with your seatmates. Again, reminder, I want you to be honest with the result of this quiz. So for question number 1, the effectiveness of Philippines as medium instruction in teaching mathematics, the answer is census. And for number 2, the changes in the behavior of drug dependence, the answer is observation. And for number 3, the physical and behavioral changes in guinea pigs subjected to a new telenovelas? The answer is interview. And for the number 8, the learning styles of the students, what do you think? Okay, very good. The answer is questionnaire or survey questionnaire. And for number 9, the characteristics, problems, and needs of the Filipino people. Okay, the answer is interview. And for number 10, the values that are acquired by some teachers from watching telenovelas, the answer is, okay, that's correct, observation. And for the next one, the direction is classify the data sets as population or sample. So you are going to classify. So number 1, the total expenses of each of the 78 workers in a small company. What do you think is the answer? Okay, that's correct, population. For the second one, a survey of 100 audience members in a coliseum with sample of total of 8,000 people in the attendance. What do you think is the answer? Okay, very good, sample. And for number 3, the annual salary of the doctors in hospital. The answer is population. And for number 4, the body temperatures of 10 patients in the hospital with 120 patients. What do you think is the answer? Okay, that's correct, sample. For number 5, the number of refrigerators in each Filipino household. What do you think? Population. Okay, and for number 6, the age of every third person entering a movie theater. The answer is sample. And for number 7, law enforcement official stops and check the driver of every third vehicle for blood alcohol content. What do you think is the answer? That's correct, sample. Okay. Okay, now I have here a 5 different situation where you are going to identify the sampling technique that was used in the following scenario. So for number 1, Mrs. Cruz, a class advisor of grade 11 randomly select 25 out of her 50 students to participate on survey on the internet access of the students at home. For number 2, all students belonging to the 8 randomly selected sections will participate in the survey of the readiness of the students for 2020-2021. And for number 3, teachers are grouped into age bracket and sex. 5 representatives from each age bracket and sex will be selected to participate and survey on the online readiness and capability of teachers for school year 2020-2021. And for the number 4, in a school, every third teacher will be selected to participate in the rapid test for COVID-19. And for the last question, the names of 100 televiewers are written on slips of papers. The slip of papers are placed inside the box and 20 names are picked from the box to receive cash prize. So I'll give you 10 minutes for you to analyze what are the proper sampling technique that you are going to use if you are the one who is gathering this data. Okay, are you done? Now let's check. For number 1, what do you think is the sampling technique that's properly to use? Okay, that's correct, systematic. And for number 2, we have cluster sampling. And for number 3, the teachers are grouped into age bracket and sex. What do you think is the answer? Stratified sampling, that's correct. And for number 4, in the school, every third teacher will the difference between the population and the sample, what do you think is the implementation of this one in our real world situation? Yes, Marie Chris? Okay, very good. Gathering statistical data or these kinds of methods or these different methods are used in business. For example, the business owner are trying to know if their customers are being satisfied with their service. Aside from that, aside from the business field, what do you think is the other application of this one? Yes, Shaman. Okay, very good. Aside from the business, aside in the business fields, we also have in healthcare, wherein this gathering statistical data is very crucial or very important when it comes to healthcare. So in that way, our government, for examples, are trying to be aware what are those viruses that is being spread in our country. And aside from that, aside from the healthcare, aside from the business fields, what do you think is the other effective application of this one? Yes, Mary. Okay, that is also correct. It is also applied in education, wherein sometimes DepEd are using these kinds of gathering statistical data so that in this way they are being aware on the needs of the students. For example, if the curriculum are being too old or they are going to improve. And that's it. We are going for our next discussion, I want you to research or have this assignment where you are going to gather different information regarding with these three questions. So number one, what is the frequency distribution table? Number two, how to construct frequency distribution? And number three, what is the different graphical presentation? Okay, everyone, I would like you to research about these three questions. So in that way, in our next discussion, you can